want you to hit me as hard as you can.
One of the most affable and accessible character actors of his time, that is, from the 80s well into the 21st century, Bill Paxton took fans to the depths of outer space, through the tornado alley of Oklahoma, and into the ill-fated passenger seat of a '59 Corvette. A staple of wide-ranging movies, both genre and mainstream, Paxton's presence elevated nearly every movie he turned up in. We remember Bill Paxton. Good old Texas boy Bill Paxton grew up with a fascination for the big screen, but started small, shooting Super 8 films with friends. He wanted to direct, and despite experience working behind the scenes in prop departments, couldn't hack it in film schools. Well, except for one. In the mid-70s, Paxton fell in with indie pope of pop cinema Roger Corman, the low-budget maestro responsible for what's affectionately called the Roger Corman Film School, whose admission is around $250,000 less than NYU's. Corman helped launch the likes of Jack Nicholson, Bruce Dern, and Ron Howard, among others, into the mainstream, even giving Howard his first directorial effort, Grand Theft Auto. After dressing sets on Big Bad Mama, Corman cast Paxton in action comedy Crazy Mama, also the debut of Dennis Quaid. This, coupled with an assistant gig on Carrie, allowed Paxton to get juicier roles, like as a homophobic basketball player in one of the most underappreciated horror films of the 80s, the Oedipal Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker. Thanks for watching We Remember. If you enjoy our shows, please subscribe to our channel right now, like this video, and click on the bell so you can be notified each time a new video goes up. Now, back to the show. A lover of the art, Paxton studied under the legendary Stella Adler, acting coach for Marlon Brando, Warren Beatty, and Robert De Niro. Heading back to LA after this brief NYC stint, Paxton floated around the fringes, showing up in a number of roles, like one of Tales from the Crypt's finest episodes, People Who Live in Brass Hearses, and as Soldier Number 8 in Stripes. Don't worry, Bill, you'll always be Soldier Number 1 in our hearts. He, too, played an embalmer in slasher Mortuary, a bartender in eventual cult fave Streets of Fire, and a mouthy, mohawked punk in The Terminator. Somehow, someway, his role as punk leader would put him on the express elevator to Hollywood. Next, he would be another bullying asshole, and we know this because his name is Chet, who gets turned into a big old pile of turdage in the Brat Pack adjacent Weird Science. Ironically, it was not Game Over Man in his true breakout, 1986's Aliens. Paxton first met director James Cameron on schlocky throwback Galaxy of Terror. Paxton a set decorator and Cameron a production designer. Paxton and Cameron hit it off so well that the actor later even got Cameron to direct a video for his new wave band, Martini Ranch. As Private Hudson in Aliens, Paxton steals every scene he's in, which is no easy feat when you're working with Sigourney Weaver in her badass prime. For his turn, and delivering one of action cinema's greatest lines, Paxton earned a Saturn Award for Best Supporting Actor. Game over, man? No. Paxton's game was just getting locked and loaded. Paxton would next appear in horror Near Dark, directed by Cameron's future wife, as well as ex-wife and 2009 Best Director competitor, Kathryn Bigelow. As loose cannon vampire Severin, Paxton chews it up, clearly having some of the most fun of his career. It would be his second consecutive trademark role. After a string of duds that you're just now hearing of, Pass the Ammo, Slipstream, and Next of Kin, Paxton broke complicated metaphysical principles by starring in the same damn movie as Bill Pullman, 1990's Brain Dead. Following Clerk's punchline Navy SEALs, Paxton appeared in Predator 2, thereby fulfilling any true actor's mission of being slayed by a Terminator, an alien, and a Predator. A true honor. Paxton has actually died on screen over a dozen times. These aren't Sean Bean numbers, but they're certainly commendable. Other notable efforts that followed included the hilarious body horror The Dark Backward, and the remarkable crime drama One False Move, as a sheriff on the brink of his biggest case, who also has the nickname Hurricane. It is objectively his most complex performance up to that point. Paxton's productive year of 1993 culminated with Tombstone, in which he lent tremendous support as Morgan Earp, baby bro of Sam Elliott's Virgil and Kurt Russell's Wyatt. Paxton would later play another Wild West figure, Frank James in Frank and Jesse, which tried to get away with casting Rob Lowe as iconic outlaw Jesse James. Paxton took on another real-life figure in Ron Howard's Apollo 13. As Fred Hayes, Paxton again rounds out a core group of memorable historical figures. It's somehow an underappreciated performance, lost in the shadows of his co-stars. The spotlight was all Paxton's in the blockbuster Twister, which would have been the highest-grossing movie of 1996 if it weren't for that pesky Will Smith, those aliens, and President Bill Pullman. Primarily known as the movie shown in science class when the teacher was hungover, Twister is also given credit for an uptick in high-risk meteorological studies, undoubtedly in part to Paxton's charismatic turn as Chief Storm Chaser Dr. Bill Harding. Following Paxton's death in 2017, close to 200 storm chasers paid tribute by spelling out his initials BP in GPS coordinates throughout Tornado Alley. Paxton would reteam with James Cameron for Titanic, hunting for Kate Winslet's Heart of the Ocean necklace. It's a relatively small role, but his determined fervor helps bookend the epic romance nicely. It would be the last time he would appear on screen for Cameron, Ice capping off a 5-movie collaboration later with Ghosts of the Abyss. This was actually the most of any actor for Cameron, even more than Arnold, which might explain why he smashed Paxton's face in True Lies. Paxton reteamed with his One False Move co-star Billy Bob Thornton in Sam Raimi's A Simple Plan. As Hank, Paxton begins as the moral conscience of the film, and of his brother, played by BBT, but is soon overtaken by the greed of $4 million. It's a tremendous performance, and one that Paxton himself considered a potential harbinger for his career, saying, quote, "I thought that one might be the role that put it all together for me," unquote. It wouldn't be, and Paxton would, for the most part, be stuck in the realm of character actors, which did allow him to play diverse roles, but rarely let him be the true draw of the movie. As demonstrated, his next 3 movies would see him saving monkeys in Mighty Joe Young, manning U-boats in U-571, and climbing the vertical limit in, Vertical Limit. But such fare wouldn't entirely satisfy Paxton. In 2001, he made his directorial debut with psychological horror Frailty, playing his most deranged character yet, a father convinced he is a servant of God, tasked with killing demons on Earth. Paxton directed just one more film, The Greatest Game Ever Played, inexplicably about golf of all sports. Despite critical acclaim and a strong following, things cooled a bit after that. There was Broken Lizard's Club Dread, which couldn't capitalize on the troops' Super Troopers, an adaptation of the puppet-heavy series Thunderbirds, and appearances in 2 Spy Kids installments as someone named Dinky Winks, whatever the hell that means. His narration work, oddly enough, ties in with some of his major career milestones. James Cameron's egomaniacal Titanic stalker flick Ghosts of the Abyss, Twister relative Tornado Alley, and TV doc JFK, The Day That Changed Everything. What's the tie-in there? As a boy, he once bid farewell to President Kennedy on the morning of November 22, 1963, just a few hours before JFK's assassination. He even later produced Kennedy assassination movie Parkland. Paxton didn't do much TV once breaking into Hollywood, but did circle back beginning in 2006 with HBO's Big Love, marking by far his greatest success on the small screen, playing Bill Henriksen, a Utah polygamist with 3 wives, which sounds like an absolute nightmare, even if one of them is Jennifer Goodwin. Filled with dimension and complexity, Bill's the sort of anti-hero that, while not as chewy or quotable as, say, Tony Soprano or Omar Little, made for an entertaining and ultimately tragic figure. For his performance, Paxton earned Golden Globe nominations for 3 of the show's 5 seasons. The same year Big Love went off the air, Paxton turned up in Steven Soderbergh project Haywire. While busy, the actor left little impact, save for Nightcrawler, playing a photographer who gets out-sleazed by Jake Gyllenhaal. He was faring much better on TV by this point. Paxton would later earn an Emmy nod for Hatfields and McCoys, co-starring with your dad's favorite actor, Kevin Costner. He even entered the Marvel Cinematic Universe with a brief stint on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. His last role was on a CBS adaptation of Training Day, essentially playing a take on the Denzel Washington part. On a February 2017 episode of Marc Maron's WTF podcast, Paxton revealed his struggle with rheumatic fever as a teen, which directly related to a damaged aortic valve. Paxton underwent multiple surgeries, the last of which was for a coronary artery. 11 days later, on February 25th, Paxton succumbed to a stroke. He was 61. Paxton's final film, The Circle, which reunited him with Apollo 13 co-star Hanks, would be released posthumously. The outpouring of those who worked with, admired, and respected Bill Paxton was immediate. Some were direct, like Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s credit tribute. An especially touching tribute came by way of the Academy Awards. While the Oscars In Memoriam segment ended on Carrie Fisher, Paxton was given special recognition by Jennifer Aniston. Considering this was the same year Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway botched announcing the wrong Best Picture winner, we're just glad she didn't accidentally eulogize Bill Pullman. Bill Paxton stands as one of the most appealing and likable character actors to have graced the screen, both big and small. A performer who could fit roles in nearly every genre and who was unafraid to delve into subgenres. Vampire movies, teen sex comedies, disaster flicks. Paxton left a mark wherever he went, solidifying himself as a charming, reliable, and genuinely underappreciated actor. There won't be another actor quite like him. Thanks for all the great film, Mr. Paxton. You are truly missed.